Grab some leftover coffee from your coffee pot, or make yourself a cup of really strong tea, and let's play and see if we can make some coffee dyed pages using what we have in our house in small batches without having to get out the pans and put things in the oven and all that. I'm going to start by putting down some paper towels. Now, I know you're thinking this is going to be a waste of paper towels, but once the paper towels are dry, you can set them aside and use them again the next time you want to do a small batch of tea dyeing. Say you don't want to have a whole bunch of tea dyed pages around your house sitting there. You just want to make what's for your journal, and you only need a few pages. Or maybe, for whatever reason, you don't want to have an all-day project, So I've been trying to figure out, obviously paintbrush. That is the easiest way. And if you have some space and something to, an open space, you could use a spray bottle. Easy peasy. In fact, I'll show you real quick. I've got one cup, 8 ounces of hot water. And then I put 3 tea bags, 2 black tea and 1 black tea with cinnamon, because if you've watched me before, I do not care for the smell of tea or the taste. However, when you put it on pages, then I like it just fine. So you could use a big paintbrush or a small paintbrush, and whichever you use will probably affect the outcome that you get. Using this bigger brush, it's going to be, I don't know, I haven't used a bigger brush, we'll find out. Also, once it's wet, you can probably just go ahead and open it up. Don't worry, you can glue it back together later. But, also, oh, hold on, it's not quite wet enough. Also, what you'll be able to do later is line the inside, if you wanted to, with some pretty paper or book page before you glue it back together, if that's what you wanted to do. Alright, that one ripped a little bit, but that's okay. And it will dry a little bit faster by being opened up like that. So I'm going to don't worry, the glue is going to get wet and sticky, so make sure you lay it down this side up when you actually... See, I may get some lines from this brush because this is a pretty stiff brush. That's okay. We'll see what that looks like in a little bit. Now, for drying this, I'm also going to use a paper towel. I don't have a lot of space to set things, and that's pretty wet, so I'm just going to put it on a piece of paper towel and set it somewhere where the dye is not going to ruin anything, whether it's an old towel or whatever. But that's okay. We can reuse the paper towels also. Sometimes, but not always, when I dye on a paper towel, it does some really interesting things. So, now that we've tried that, let's try, where's my scissors? I don't need the whole sponge. I just had a pair of scissors, I just did. Oh, here they are. I moved them to the other side. That was kind of dumb. Okay. And you can even pre-cut your tags and go ahead and dye them. So I'm just cutting this the long way so that I don't have to stick my hand way down in the tea. And I haven't tried this yet, but I just wanted to see. Oh yeah. So a sponge works for spreading the tea on your pages. Most definitely. So there, you're not having to dunk your pages. I got a lot of tea on there too. But we're going to see how much we can get tea dyed and tea stained with this 8 ounces, just 1 cup of tea. Using just 3 tea bags, not having to use 4 cups of tea and 12 tea bags. Just a small batch, just enough. Oh, hi, my name is Darcy. Welcome to my channel. Sorry, I've been wanting to show this for a little bit. For people who are new, who don't have a lot of things to work with, and this one, I'm going to put it this way so the sticky side's on top, right? I'm just going to set it right on top of the other one for right now. I'm just going to stack my envelopes. All right. I had another envelope. And the paper towels collect a lot of the wet moisture. And if I were to put a plain wet page with no tea dye on this, it would probably soak up the tea that's in there. All right, now I want to actually try a piece of paper towel. I mean, what if you have absolutely nothing? What would you use? Well, let's see. Let's get a piece of paper towel wet. And now your design's going to be a little different because it's going to get thicker in spots where you, or you can do this. Boop, boop, boop. This is still hot tea. My tea is still hot. See how you get these little lines from the paper towel? Now, if you don't like that, just if you have like a vinyl tablecloth or placemats, or you can set them on your kitchen counter, clean that off and wipe it down and just go ahead and set them right on your counter. It'll be fine too. Or if you have space outside, you can put them outside, or you could use clothespins or binder clips or bulldog clips and hang them up somewhere if that is your desire and you have that as an option. Not everybody does. Isn't that pretty? I'm gonna let that sit for like, I want it to soak in so that I get those. Is that the inside? Oh, that's the inside. I wanted to do that on the back though. All right, let's see. So just gonna do its thing. And I will be using a lot of paper towels. That's the only thing. So if I were doing this a few months ago, wouldn't be possible. But paper towels are back in stock in most places. If you don't have paper towels, you could use an old, what's the word that I want? Old towels to set them on. Alright, so now we found out it does work to use a paper towel. It does work to use a sponge. What if you don't have any of those? Well, just going to take this and get a little bit on there and use our hand. Just take a little bit out with a spoon, pour it on there, and you see, you tea dye in small batches no matter what. As long as you have something behind it to collect this over spillage. Now you might want to make sure something behind that is not something that you I don't know how much tea would stain something, but I've just got my little mixed media mat thing back there, so I'm not too concerned about that. Then I'm going to turn it over and do the other side. Now you could also set these to dry if you have a cookie rack, a cooling rack like for cookies. If you set this to dry on there, you will get some lines. If you have any pans with any kind of what's the word that I want? Any kind of pattern. That's what I'm thinking. Like if you have one of those pizza ones with the holes in it, a perforated pan, that's what they're called. You could use that. This is, what is this called? A sink mat. And I've been wanting to try it. I don't want the smooth side. I want this rough side. I've been wanting to try this. So, and I think I don't know if you can see the little lines and variegations you get when you lay it on a paper towel. But for right now, I want to lay it this way so I can lay more than one. Hopefully, at least get part of it. I've not tried it on this particular mat before because I just opened it, as you could see. Set that over there. And then when you're done with your tea or your coffee, dump out the tea or the grounds and rinse out your, oh my goodness, my chair's falling back on me again. My house is so not plumb. And mix up your, oh yeah, to clean out your, hold on. Just rinse it, you know, dump them in the trash, rinse it out good, and let it dry, and you will have something to use for anything. These might be heavy enough to use as a pocket, but also in collage, it's nice. If you don't have pattern paper, I want to see how this does on the, this is masking paper, which you would use in painting. Basically you would tape it to the edges, like especially if you're using a sprayer, I guess, so that you don't get the paint all over the wall. You would tape this masking paper, which comes in different widths. This one's 12 inches, so it gives you some leeway when you're painting. And it usually comes on a roll like this. I had to order mine on Amazon because even though Home Depot had it on their website saying they had it, they didn't. They only had the brown. They used to have pink. If you ever find the pink, let me know. I wanted to see how that would tea dye. Oh my goodness. There. And then I do have some, I kind of want to see how much I can dye. I should do my papers first though. Oh, and then I have some of this paper which somebody gave me, and I just have a bunch of it. Like, so you might even have a bunch of just colored paper from a past project, or maybe you made some flyers at one time. Well, that was me. I used to make flyers and stuff. But this is actually where I work. We use a different color paper each year for the cover for our client files. And she purged out her old colors. And then she was like, and I didn't know where I'd put them at the time. I know where they are now. Of course, now they're back in Kansas. And she was like, do you still have those? Because she was starting to reuse colors, which she didn't know she was going to do. But that's all right. Because, you know, you only have to keep the files for like 7 years. 3 years. I think we purged some after. We actually hold on to our client files until we know there's no potential of audit. So, I'll set that over there to dry. And so that was 2 pieces of paper and 3 envelopes so far, right? And I still have at least half of my tea left. Now, if you can do a wide brush, it does it nice and quickly. You can get a good... Of course, that sponge did pretty good too, right? The sponge was pretty. Yeah, see, if you dry your towel on a paper towel, you get lines like that, which I think is cool. Because then you don't have to go buying special perforated pans to get really cool lines. So. And then if I want some variation in my color, then once I get this soaked, I will come back through, which actually is kind of doing it now with the, so now I could come back through with my brush. Hold on. I want to put it on my paper towel first. Now, if you don't want the triangles to show and you just want, like, see these, I'm going to put it on the back side so that it's just the dots and not the triangle bits that will show up as much. I don't know which way I laid it. Oh, sorry. So, I'm going to do that, lay it on there, and then I want to kind of, like, add some thicker spots here and there and hope to get some variation. And you know, some darker spots and some lighter spots is what I'm hoping for there. I haven't actually done tea-dyed pages, not in a mass bulk, in a while, so and I'm just setting that on top of the other papers in no order of semblance or whatever. Okay, now what other paper do people tend to have? People tend to have striped paper. Yeah, sure, striped paper. That's what people have. Oh my goodness. Lined paper, which tends to, I know a lot of times it will the lines will run. Although this one doesn't seem to be doing it too bad. But I'm thinking, as long as we're not soaking it, and if we go with the lines, maybe there'll be less chance of the lines disappearing on us. But if they get wet, they're probably going to disappear. It depends on the paper. Some brands run, some don't. You might see on the, is this someone? Yeah, this is just, I don't know about you, but even before I started looking for paper in the stores, I had plenty of this paper. And now I have more because in order to get the really cool paper, I had to also get some of this paper because they know no one's really going to buy this paper. So they put it in with the cool paper so you're forced to get it. Pretty sure that's what they do. And I'm just going to set this on top of the other one for now. I may, if I'm able to spread them out later, I will. So now I'm going to do some graph paper. I kind of like the sponge method here. It gets it gets it a little bit more, I don't know. Hey, these lines aren't running. Oh, this is just probably graph paper. Oh, those are starting to run a little bit. But if I were to soak this, if I were to dip this in the tea, I would, half the lines would go away. So I'm just doing a light coat of tea. And then I think this one I'll do like I did before. Alright, I keep putting my paper towels in a different spot. That's kind of dumb. Don't be like me. See, it is starting to run on the edges. But that's okay. That's a look too. Then I'm going to take my paintbrush and I'm going to give myself some darker spots for variation. For, you know, hopefully those parts will be a little bit darker. You can also dry these with, I said, a drying rack or just a cookie sheet. And then, yeah, if you do stack them like right on top of each other with nothing in the middle, like this paper doesn't necessarily do it, but I had some red paper that it got red all over that when I did it, which is fine. All right, I want at least 2 of these. So I'm prepping for some junk journals. I'm going to be doing some journaling with my peeps in Junk Journal with Penny. We're going to have some fun together. I almost want to just leave that, but I'm not. Well, I could. I might. All right, then I'll have green, and I'll just, I don't know that will show. Yeah, I'll just do this. The Facebook group, Junk Journal with Penny. I do a live Sundays at 1. And we're going to be doing journals together. Just kind of making the cover, playing in the pages, just kind of doing it together. And sharing ideas and just having a fun afternoon of crafting, basically. But also my aim is to, I know you think I'm wasting a lot of paper towels, but I'm going to save them for the next time I die. And they don't take up a lot of space. So it's fine. Don't worry about it. Just save them and reuse them. Did I only have 1 piece of white paper? How did that happen? That can't be right. No, I knew I had more. Just never know where I'm putting stuff. Let's see. If you use a small paintbrush, it's going to take a lot longer to paint it. But also you may have more variation because it starts to dry a little bit before you add some more, I guess. I don't know. I'm just saying things just to say things. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to find ways for people, especially people with small spaces or people who don't have a lot of supplies, to do things without breaking or people who like have arthritis or fibromyalgia and standing in a kitchen all day dunking your papers and putting them in the oven or putting them to dry or whatever is just too much. Just do a small batch. Just do enough for one journal. If you like the tea stained or coffee stained pages. I mean, if you don't, then don't do that. I'd be a little bit more nervous using food coloring to do this, just because it's messier, and I'd rather do that outside on my porch when I can. Maybe if it warms up later today, I will. But, and that's also where I need to bring in my food colorings. They're out on the porch. I only use them for dyeing paper. Well, how would I use them for cooking? That's just silly. And this side I'm just gonna use my sponge and see if there's a difference between the two sides, I guess. There should be, because you can see where it soaked through on some bits and not the others. I'm gonna tell you, the sponge works nicely. And if you had this in a flatter thing, put the sponge on its side, you would be getting it done real fast. Now, it is possible that, see how I have white bits there? That may happen when you dry them on a paper towel, only because as the paper towel puts liquid into it, it takes liquid out at the same time. Let's see, let me go ahead and, so I don't know if you could see that this one, because I used the brush and it went on overlapping and stuff, that there are darker spots. And then when I do it again like this, should be even more variation. So yeah, see these when they dry, huh? All right, do some more. What was that one? That was white. What else can we try? Is there anything else? We did a paper towel. Oh, before I forget, I want to make sure I do some. Ooh, let's try this. All right, let's get one side wet here. And this will be my dedicated tea dyeing sponge. But you can get a pack of 4 sponges for pretty cheap. And chances are you might have a sponge under your sink somewhere. But I'm thinking if a sponge and a paper towel work, an old piece of actual towel may also work. All right. Now I want to dip my cheesecloth in here while I still have some. Look at that lovely color. And then I'm going to wring it back out in there. I'm just putting it over my paper so if it drifts, I get it on there. And let's see, I want to do another layer here. But now I'm going to take my cheesecloth and I'm going to put it on top of this paper to dry. And that may or may not affect how the paper comes out. Either way, I'll have dyed paper and dyed cheesecloth to play with. And if you don't have cheesecloth, check your, I'm always saying this, check your first aid kit. See if there's some extra gauze in there that you'll probably never end up using. There's 2 different kinds of gauze though. One's more like dried baby wipe and one's more like cheesecloth. I found out. Because I never know what I'm going to get. Because I have had a couple different first aid kits, and so they've had different types of gauze. Plus, my son I still had gauze from 15 years ago when my son had to wear a patch, and he didn't like the patch, so we tried just some gauze. Hi, baby kitty. Let's see. I also brought in some lace. So let's see. I have my paper towel ready to set that on, and then I'll set a piece of paper on top of the lace. Or no, maybe I'll do both. All right. Whoops. So far we've got several pieces of paper, envelopes, and a piece of cheesecloth, and now a piece of lace. This is just a piece of lace cut off from some remnant lace that I got. So there's that. All right. I'm going to lay this lace right on top of this paper, which will get it nicely wet. Got a little longer lace than I need. And then I'm going to do this and just see what happens. I mean, probably nothing. It'll just give me, well, I'm gonna try, well, let me try the brush. Or let me try making a mess. That might work too. Right, I'm gonna turn it over real quick. Make sure the back of my papers. And I wasn't being, I mean, if I just used the brush, I might have got more pages. I'm going to fold this over here. I might have got more pages dyed. Who knows? I had this already. Okay, I'm going to set that under there. I'm going to flip it. And I'm going to put another piece of paper on top of that one. In hopes of, in fact, I might just go ahead and take one of these plain ones and put it on top and press it down. Wish it was more straight than that, but oh, you can't see what I'm doing. But I'm pressing down the green paper. Oh yeah, and I'm gonna leave it there to dry on top of that. And since we already have tea on this page, let's go ahead and dye this one. I'm going to do another one with my paintbrush here, because I like when you get the variation. So like I said, you can get enough for a journal with 1 cup of tea. So, and then you don't have to have a whole bunch stored, and you may or may not end up using it. So yeah, I think I get 2 more. And I'll set this one right on top of that other green one that I did not dye, which will drop some dye onto it as well. Squeeze out that one. That's the cinnamon one. Ooh, that'll be a cinnamon smelling. That one will definitely smell like cinnamon, won't it? And hopefully these drops will show. Hopefully. Gets extra wrinkled the more wet you get it. It's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. Now if you get it wet enough, you probably don't even have to do both sides. It should come through. Okay, hold on. Let's squeeze out another one. And then, yeah, I will save. These are the round ones because we have Tuesday morning. And they have the, I think it's Taifu tea, which is an English tea. Whoops. Oh, shoot. And like I said, I will save these paper towels and reuse them for the next time I dye. My papers. DYE. No dyeing will be happening. I'm going to soak up some of that tea in there. That's in the paper towel. Because remember, this paper towel is also full of tea now. So if all I do... Oh, yeah, that's right. I wanted to set this one on top of the green. I don't even need my paper towel yet. Set that one there. Alright. I'm going to smoosh, smoosh, smoosh. Is that the side that has the Bounty name, though? I don't know. And smoosh, smoosh, smoosh. Get as much tea out of that as I can. And put it over here to dry. And let's see. Oh, I only did like a couple of these, huh? I wonder if I have enough tea left to do another one. I do like graph paper. I prefer graph paper over the line paper just because the lines go both ways. how do I get that out? There we go. Squeeze that back into the jar too. Now if I were to lay one of these on here to dry, I would get a nice little circle, most likely. Alright, so that is dyeing papers in small batches. I'm actually going to lay that one on top of this other green one that I had. And it is possible that my lines will go on to the, which way did I have this? Okay, I want to turn this way. It's possible the blue lines from the graph paper will end up on the paper, which I'm okay with that. I think that would actually be kind of cool. Alright. I just want to lay that one down there to get up that. And then I'm going to just pour the rest of that. I'll let it sit for a minute so I can get those splotches. And I have this towel too, so what I might also do, go ahead and get as much of that off as I can. Can't tell which is the Bounty side and which is the back side. Now, I think that's the back side. Gonna lay that on top of there, lay that there, lay that there, see what happens. Oh yeah, we've got this too. Let's see. I'm gonna take a couple of these and put them under this to collect some of that liquid that's under there. We're not wasting anything here, people. And put this over on top of everything else. And that's it. I will hopefully come back. Hopefully I remember to come back and record and show you how those are when they dry. They will probably take most of the day to dry, but that's 1 cup. And in 30 minutes, I have a small batch of papers tea stained and ready, and they're drying. So I'll see you in a bit. Hello, I'm back. And my papers are dry, although I was impatient. And I did dry a few of them, finished drying a few of them. Most of these, to get them to dry faster, you definitely don't want to leave them in a pile. And I had separated the piles, and but some of them I still had 2 or 3. So this, let's see, I wish I could start at the beginning, but I didn't have them in order. Let's see, I started with these. I think this is the one I did with the brush, and you can see some of the brush strokes. And then this might be, I don't know which envelope that is. It's the one that I added the extra drips to anyway. You've seen it more recently than I have, because it's been all day for me, and like 20 minutes for you. And then I think I did a white one like this, so that's what that one turned out like. And the other white one, white paper, came out like that. Oh, I know you want to see what the one with the lace turned out like. This is now coffee dyed lace. It's not the bright white anymore. And it does have this line because I had it folded over the paper. But this is my favorite piece. That's from having the lace laying on it. Isn't that so cool? And even the back has a little bit on there. Not the best way. So anyway, yeah. Isn't that cool? That came out so cool. And this is what the actual lace looks like. Let's see. And then I think I only ended up doing 1 piece of this. And I did a couple pieces of this. And let's see. And then the one that the cheesecloth was on looks like this. Even the back got a little bit of something. And the green ones, you can see the tea dye some. And come on. My phone doesn't like me trying to get it up so close. Oh, here's another one of this tea dyed. I think this is the one I used the small paintbrush on. And then this is, oh, this is the green one that was on the lace. I'm actually surprised the lace didn't turn green a little bit. Really? Rude people in my house. And then this has some lighter spots on it because the green went from that onto this piece, which is cool. Can you see the green? Ooh, what did I just knock over? Make some glue. So yeah, there's a little bit of green on here from this, and that will happen if you stack colored papers. This was that top piece, and this was where I set one of the tea bags. And can't really see where I put the cup. Oh yeah, when you think about it, set a cup on top of them to get the. And this obviously was next to this. I think they actually were like this, with this on top of it. And this looks a little more green because tea does have some orangey yellow. So when that gets mixed in with the blue, you get green. Plus the other green didn't help. So this was kind of like that. And I didn't have any tea on these. That's just what got absorbed from the paper towel. And then there's one more. This is the one I had set the paper on, knowing that some of the grid would come out on that, which is kind of cool. So with that 1 cup of coffee, we won't count these because they were just about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 pieces of paper, piece of lace, and a piece of cheesecloth. More than enough for a journal. Might even be enough for 2 journals if you have plenty of other papers that you want to use, like book pages or whatnot. But even if you only use these pages, that's enough for a single signature journal. So 1 cup of tea or coffee, small batch, got enough for a journal. So there you have it. So have a delightful day, everybody. Love you.